So I've gotten a couple requests to explain the four-bomb Olmec boss fight. This is a bit of a informal explanation video. I'm just going to show a video of me doing the fight how I do it and run through what each step is. First, some starter information. The strategy is discovered by Soul Arrow. I made a few modifications for consistency, but Soul Arrow gets a primary credit for this very fast boss fight. As the name suggests, it requires four bombs, zero ropes, which is very nice. Four bombs is nice as well because that means it's low percent viable. It does not work with paste bombs. You need normal bombs. It is 37 seconds, which is very fast. The only faster boss fights are going to be a paste bomb spam, but that's a little inconsistent, so this strategy is better sometimes. It's pretty difficult to learn, but it's quite consistent once you learn it. I find that I get it like 9 out of 10 times nowadays. There's a few variations on how to do this fight, but this is generally how I like to do it, and it's pretty consistent, so that's what I'm going to show off. So I like to place the first bomb past the Hawkman, and then I throw the Hawkman and get him out of the way. The key is to place it pretty significantly past him because sometimes when you go to throw the Hawkman, you'll pick up the bomb instead, and then the whole fight's ruined. There's like a lot of steps that you have to do very quickly right back next to each other, so there's like very little room for error. Some players like to pick up the Hawkman first and then drop a bomb and then throw him out of the way to make sure you don't pick him up by accident. I just like this method. It's consistent if you're good at your placement. So yeah. So get rid of him. You want to get beneath the first stomp of Olmec here, and you want to tuck the bomb into the corner. You want to manually place it into the corner, and if it falls down like this, then that means you've done it correctly. Um, you want this look of gap. If you get this look of gap, that means first bomb was successful. And before the bomb even explodes, you want to be positioned on this second tile away. So this tile right here was here a second ago. You want to be on this second tile because what you're going to be doing next is you're going to be flip hanging over this ledge. You don't want to be doing it too early because then you'll get caught in this explosion. You don't want to be too close to the ledge because sometimes you'll just stutter crawl over into the explosion instead of flip hanging. And you don't want to be too far because then you just won't reach it in time. So you're going to crawl over and flip hang. And then second bomb is very easy. I'm just going to go back a half second here. You just throw it while you're flip hang. That's all you need to do. You just throw it against Olmec. And so what you're going to do is you're going to get back up on the ledge, and this is kind of important here. You want to get under him and bait his stomp, which does not seem significant at the moment, but it makes the last bomb a lot more consistent with his alignment, so you just want to run under him and bait a stomp. In this example, I actually did not bait him quite as far over as you might want. This is still a pretty big gap. I might get stuffed on the last bomb later. I don't, obviously, because it's a pre-recorded video, but as long as you get under him and get him to stomp, it's pretty consistent, and you'll have plenty of room for the last bomb. Next step is get on top of his head and just place a bomb on top of his head. You want it to be aligned here with the center of your gap, so it will blow up another layer of tiles. So drop that. And so what I do here for the last bomb is I use the swap key, so that key that basically nobody ever uses, that allows you to hold an unlit bomb in your hand or an undropped rope in your hand. So I swap to bomb using my swap key. You might have to find yours because nobody ever uses it. And then I jump underneath him, and as I'm jumping underneath him, I press X to start lighting the bomb. So bomb is lit as I'm underneath him. Um, some players don't like to swap the bomb here. Some players like to land over here, place a bomb, and then do the last bomb flip hang. I find that gives you less time for the final parts of the fight, so I like to just swap to it here and pre-cook it as I'm going over. So you do that. You wait a half second for this bomb to explode, so don't go immediately. But if you time it correctly, you'll flip hang that bomb, and it'll land very nicely in this gap. This is kind of the hardest part of the fight. As you can see, immediately after flip hanging, I hop back up because what you have to do for this last section is you have to get Olmec actually stomped inside this hole. So you want to teeter on the edge here, and drop him straight in. That last heater is, in many people's opinion, the hardest part of the fight. Um, it's pretty easy to practice like aligning Olmec without doing this strategy, so you might want to practice that a little if you're having trouble with that part. Um, Usually the hard part is not the alignment itself, it's just the limited time that you have to do it, and if you miss it, then Olmec can get stuck in the hole and ruin the entire strategy. And that's the whole fight, so that's very quick. You have plenty of time to clear enemies at the end here because the door won't open until Olmec is fully dropped. And yeah, that's it. So I want to cover one variation that you can do. So if you're having trouble with the last heater, you can instead do this. So I stay flipped hanged here instead of teetering, and Olmec drops straight into the hole off of my flip hang alignment. So it's significantly easier, and you might be wondering why we don't always do this because it's easier. And the reason why we don't always do this, or why I don't exactly endorse it as a strategy all the time, is that this just doesn't work all the time. Sometimes Olmec will clip this block and get stuck in the hole. I would suggest learning the teeter strategy instead. It's much more consistent, but if you're having a lot of trouble with the teeter, then the flip hang strategy can be an alternative. Just some closing notes. This strategy is usually pretty viable for no gold. The issue is you don't want gold on this tile like I got here. If you don't get the good gold no gold layout, that just kind of sucks because then you have to do a normal no gold fight, which takes forever. It's not super great for pacifist. You're going to have to do 3 stomps total. Any of those stomps can spawn enemies. It's a 50-50 chance per stomp. But, if you need a good pacifist PB, you can run it. And yeah, aside from that, that's kind of the whole fight. Hopefully that was useful. I'm just going to end this video by playing it back in its entirety. Yeah, so there it is. As you can see, it's like a lot faster in real time, but with practice, you can get very consistent at it. I would recommend using the savable Splunky mod, which lets you load saves. It's what I use for this video. As you might notice in my level transition screen, I'm missing a block marking me as a cheater because I'm just loading straight into the Olmec level. I'll link that below if I can find it. You could also just use Cheat Engine to spawn on level 15 because it doesn't spawn you straight into Olmec. But those are both great practice tools. If you want to learn this fight, I just recommend sitting down for a few hours and just running through it over and over again until you get consistent.